coming in, and it seems the IT teams have left the BBC offices in Delhi and Mumbai. The BBC says they will continue to cooperate and has called itself a trusted and independent media organization. I've got the entire statement of the BBC. It has said the income tax authorities have left our offices in Delhi and Mumbai. We will continue to cooperate with the authorities and hope matters are resolved as soon as possible. We are supporting staff, some of whom have faced lengthy questioning or been required to stay overnight, and their welfare is our priority. Our output is back to normal, and we remain committed to serving our audiences in India and beyond. The BBC, this is what the statement says, is a trusted independent media organization, and we stand by our colleagues and journalists who will continue to report without fear or favor. So that message also coming in from the BBC in the wake of this IT survey. The IT teams have left both the Delhi and the Mumbai offices after 3 days. I'm joined by my colleague Anshul. Anshul, so what more details can you get for us when it comes to the IT survey? And at the same time, this message coming in from the BBC, a veiled message to the government, if you will, that the BBC is a trusted independent media organization and we will stand by our colleagues and journalists who will continue to report without fear or favor. So in a way, backing the entire Modi documentary as well.
Well, yes, if you see the entire statement that has come from the BBC, it still says that it still stands by the journalists and the fingers that are attached to the BBC. But if you see the manner in which this entire negotiation has gone on, the Income Tax Department of the Indian government has clearly said that this has nothing to do with the independent editorial stand of the BBC, but it has to do with the financial fraud. And that is what the IT survey has done today. The IT survey over the past 3 days, or approximately over the past 56 hours, has gone ahead and very clearly said that the manner in which the BBC has been tracking its funds, the Office of Profit Funds, from the Delhi BBC office to the BBC London office, that is something that is questionable. And what the IT department is searching right now is that the manner in which the money has been spent from the subsidiary of BBC, that is the BBC India, to the BBC London. The manner in which the money has been transferred or the profits have been transferred to that is something very, very questionable. So now the IT department has gotten all the information that is required about the transfer of funds from BBC India to BBC London, and the manner in which the BBC has been trying to save its taxes within the Indian government. So that has come to the fore right now, and what we are seeing right now, what the sources within the IT department has been telling us right now, that they have gotten very concrete evidences against the BBC in which they have tried to save taxes against the Indian government. So yes, it remains to be seen once this entire survey, since this entire survey has ended. Now what remains to be seen is that survey that has been actually been captured by BBC or by that has been captured by the IT department in India, will that reflect in the balance sheet of BBC London? So yes, this is a very, very big scenario that is looking right now. This is just the beginning of the story that we are hearing right now. But yes, this could have massive repercussions on BBC India, who already had decided to cut its resources from India and to transfer it to London. But eventually, after the Modi government came into power, they decided to give in more power to BBC India, and that is the reason why we are seeing such one-sided conversation that has come into a fore. So yes, this IT raid actually proved, in fact, the IT survey actually proves the manner in which the BBC has been reporting in India and how could it improve itself when it comes to reporting inside India itself. So yes, it remains to be seen what comes out from this entire survey that has been conducted on BBC India right now. But what we are picking up, that the IT department has those resources that can actually convict BBC India of being in malpractices inside India itself.
Absolutely. So Anshul, I completely agree with you that this is separate to the entire IT survey, which is looking into charges of tax evasion. But at the same time, we have to look at the wording of this entire statement in the wake of the Modi documentary, because we have seen multiple government employees, top ministers, which have called the entire documentary a hatchet job. And that is where this line of the statement makes kind of escalates the entire fight, where it says the BBC is a trusted independent media organization and we stand by our colleagues and journalists who will continue to report without fear or favor. If this is not a message to the government, then what is?
Well, if you see, the BBC has a record of being banning in India. Already already twice, the BBC has already been banned in India when the Congress government was in power. Now, if you see this entire documentary that has come to the fore, and that is making rounds on social media, the documentary that has come to the fore, that documentary has to do a lot with the manner in which the minorities, especially the Muslims, are being oppressed in India. But yes, if you look at the reality, that is very, very untrue. And that is the reason why there are objections raised on the BBC documentary. Initially, it told how the story went for Muslims in the 2002 riots that happened in the state of Gujarat. And the second part of the documentary actually says that how Muslims are actually not allowed to breathe inside India. So yes, there is definitely a larger modus operandi that's being operated right now. And that is the reason why the Modi government and the BJP government has raised such massive objections against the BBC documentary. But still, that documentary is not banned in India. It has been, the BBC has been asked to remove the documentary on social media platforms, be it Facebook, Twitter, or any other social media platforms. But if you see, the manner in which the propaganda is propagated, that is something that the BJP has been raising questions on. And that is why we are seeing that the action that has been taken against the BBC, that is not something that has happened after the documentary was released, but this entire structure of money transferring that has come to the fore after the BBC.
Absolutely, the focus of the IT surveys is there. Thank you, Anshul, for getting us this piece of breaking news. But BBC, at the end of the day, standing its ground with that message to the government that we stand by our colleagues and journalists who will continue to report without fear or favor. This after the IT survey teams have left after 3 days with those massive charges of tax evasion against the BBC corporation here in India. We'll have to wait and see how the government reacts to this message that has come in from the BBC and what details we can get from the Income Tax Department when it comes to what they have found after analyzing all the data at the BBC offices in Delhi and Mumbai. Remember, they have left after conducting that survey for 3 days. We'll continue to track all the developments which are coming in, but getting some